he was like, oh, damn. Like, he goes, I mostly know about the little guys. I'm like, oh, so who's the one who doesn't know boxing now, you fuck? Anyway, he's a cool guy. But then I did have a moment where I was like, man, if he goes, have you heard of the Pretty Neat podcast? I don't know what I'm going to say.
You were like, I have heard of it.
I have heard of that.
What are your thoughts?
Listen to every episode.
It's funny you should mention it. I have heard of that podcast, and I really want to know, when's the last time you sent something into the mailbag?
Hey, have you heard of Nate Gamez? No, Nick Gamez.
Like, who are you?
This week's episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast is brought to you by you. That's right. If you'd like us to promote your content or your store, let us know by going to theprettyneatpodcast.com and click in the mailbag.
What?
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just start the show off immediately by dating ourselves.
Yeah, well, that's what we do most often. So, par for the course.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's cut straight to the facts here that Dominic, the third,
I could even do 6:45.
Yeah, let's cut right
liar.
to it. Okay, we're gonna have to talk to him about punctuality.
Yeah,
and
that's one demerit.
One demerit.
Any more demerits, and we're gonna have to send him to our vice principal.
Yes. I am the referee here. I'm taking 1 point.
Yeah, I told you in the back that we're coming out on time. Any lateness, and there are no warnings, I'm taking a point.
Yeah,
we're starting you off with a point taken.
Yes, for the delayed walkout.
Have you speaking of points and whatnot, have you heard of the theory that if somebody misses weight egregiously but the fight still goes on, that they just take a point away at the beginning of the fight?
I have not heard that.
What do you think about that?
For each round or just the first round?
Just the first round.
Oh man, I'd prefer it if it was the whole thing.
Like each round you're a point down?
Yeah. Off the dome. Like you got to finish this thing or really, really put on a performance.
You have to have a 10-8 type round to win the round.
Yeah. In every round. Because then, like, I mean, you missed weight, you're fighting for a draw. Right? Like, you're kind of like saying, I broke the rules, so I guess I can't win. Right? It feels weird even giving them the possibility of winning when they didn't meet the criteria of the contract. But, hey, I guess that's what catch weights are for.
Well, I mean, catch weights are for last minute fights, right? And they're both fighters are like, well, we're definitely not going to be able to meet our normal weights because we not in camp, etc. That's different. We're talking about people that had full camps, that nothing came out in terms of injury, and then they just decide, I'm not going to make weight. I'm going to miss weight by 3 pounds. And, you know, the UFC puts so much pressure on their fighters to say, well, you still need a fight, right? So take a point away at the beginning of the fight. Hey, Dom, it's 6:50.
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties, so fuck you.
And I was gonna say right before you said that, Ryan, that he would probably get us on a semantic argument in that he did say he could.
I could, right? Could. Technically, I said I could, not that I would.
Yes.
And now I'm having audio issues.
Oh, really?
Let's stop what we're doing and talk about it.
Okay.
Welcome to the Pretty Neat Podcast, everyone, where we fill time by doing the intro and Dominic sorts out audio issues. And he's gone.
And bye-bye.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
Hey, Dominic, your voice sounds sultry. I'm so glad you're here.
Your voice sounds sultry.
Welcome.
Do you know how I fixed my audio issues?
Did you unplug it and plug it back in?
Even better, I restarted my computer, but then I realized my headphones were not all the way plugged in. So I fixed that.
Problem solved.
You heard it here, folks. There is a cidery. Ryan, there is a meadery near us. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty surprising. Meat is tasty.
Meat is good. I would give you the name, but no free shout outs.
Yeah. So the reason why we're talking about cider is Aaron, we normally record on a different day, but Aaron was a little busy because he's at an event. And at the event, whoever was curating the drink selection decided that in summer weather outside, that it would be a good idea if we served stouts.
Which stout?
A coffee.
A coffee
a
stout.
microbrew. Couldn't tell you the brand.
And I said that's in poor form.
It's bad show. It's not the move I would have gone with.
No. I'm diving back into that peach mango cider that I had last week while we recorded.
Okay.
It was perfectly soothing.
So he said that no free shout outs, but there was a seltzer manufacturer that was also at the event, which I felt was more appropriate for the weather, specifically if you're outside during the daytime.
Yeah.
But seltzers, if we're talking stereotypical masculinity, it's not really the thing that most guys go for, right? How do you feel about that, Aaron?
I let people do what they do.
Okay.
I got fingernail polish on. Like I'm no normal. I'm no normie.
You're not a normie?
I'm not a normie.
Okay.
No.
I don't think any of us could be classified as normies.
I don't think so either. Like you and I have I would actually say a more extensive experience with mead from the Pirate Rock days than most people would have. Brian used to bring mead all the time.
Yeah, I think he liked mead because it made him feel like a pirate.
Well, it'd be like a Viking, right? Like a Norse Viking.
And he's Norse. So like he did make him
He would routinely said it's the drink of the gods.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Aaron and I had an old coworker that one time that I used to brew beer with. That sells who it is for you, Aaron.
Yes, it
and
does. My lobster claws are ready for some boxing.
Yeah. There is a literal 0% chance he listens to this show. So I'm going to say this in the way that I asked, are we sure Brandon Moreno's good? Are we sure that guy was a good guy? Aaron, what do you think? You don't have to answer that. Oh, I got to tell you guys a funny story that happened at work yesterday too. Anyway, so we're working on this batch of beer. Ryan, I feel like you and I would have fun brewing beer together, and we definitely
would,
haven't we?
We have. Also, we'd have to invite Cliff to partake.
Well,
he's my sensei.
That feels like it. It's a must.
Yeah.
I actually told someone about Cliff this morning. That's two work things. So so anyway, so we finished the batch of beer, and this guy goes into his closet and like rummages around on the top and pulls out a bottle of mead that has been sitting in a closet of his, although not that exact one, for more than 5 years. He was like a groomsman at a wedding, and he had the groom and the bridegroom, the woman and her bridegroom, or whatever,
her partner,
had made this batch of mead and timed it to be ready on their wedding day, and this guy got like a half case, and he for some reason still had this bottle, and it was more than 5 years later. He's like, let's fucking drink this. And I was like are you sure? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. So we drink the whole bottle.
Yeah.
And I got so drunk.
Oh, yeah.
On the couch. Then I went to hungover in a span of maybe 35 minutes.
Oh, God.
Then I went to I'm going to fall asleep where I stand. It was a very strange physical experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the typical ABV percentage of mead can range from 3.5% to 20%.
Yeah.
And then if you're bottle conditioning it for 5 more years, I would say that's
This one is in the 20 range.
fairly
There's
potent.
no doubt in my mind. That's where we were trading.
Fairly potent. Yes.
Yeah. And it was really a cool experience. And I have actually not had a mead since that is that good. I do not like sparkling mead. Don't ever give me that. And I also don't want mead that has been given too much fruit. You don't need it.
No, it's made with honey.
Yeah.
So don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Also, you got to drink mead at the right time. So it sounds like that wasn't the first drink that you had before you went to that bottle of mead, or was it?
No, sir, it was not.
Okay. Because that's more of like a stereotypical dessert style beverage, or
I don't think always
no.
it is, but I don't know that much about mead. But here's what I can tell you: you and I are going to go to this meadery that is near us.
I looked it up,
and I think we're going to get really drunk there. maybe do they have? Maybe we go there and watch a football game.
So when I looked it up, it actually
you
there's
can't
the
just
brewery,
go, can
the brewery name. No, not that, but it had two names, and one I thought was much funnier.
Are we talking about different places?
I don't know. This one's in Temecula off Remington. So
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the only one that pulls up in Temecula.
Uh-huh.
It's a meadery and hard cider.
Okay, no, tasting room.
Yeah, they're open from
Okay. I think this has to happen.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Tell them they can earn a shout out.
You know what? They can
give a free subscription and we'll shout you out all day long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At this rate, we'll do it for 10% off.
This week's episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast is brought to you by you. That's right. If you'd like us to promote your content or your store.
Okay, that's fun times. Aaron, you're welcome to join us too.
Come on down.
I will do my best. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So welcome to the Pretty Neat Podcast, where we make plans that nobody else is gonna be a part of.
We're making plans. We're letting you know about them, and if you want to meet us at an undisclosed location and you can figure out where we're going, join us.
Honestly, if you do that, first round's on me.
Yeah, go to the mailbag
at
theprettyneatpodcast.com.
Not you, Brandon.
Brandon will know. Brandon. Okay, well, if Brandon does it, he can fucking go. You set out the rules. He can go.
He laid out the ground rules.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Brandon. 1 round.
All right, you get 1 round. Okay, so this happened at work.
Okay, work stories.
Yeah, it's the morning, and I'm standing off. We have 3 entry gates at the school I work at now. And I have been to the very back one, and I've been to the side one, but I had not yet been to the front one. So I'm at the front one. And I'm talking to one of the campus supervisors, and he's like, "You like any sports?" And I go, "I like every sport." And he goes, "What about boxing?" He goes, "Do you know anything about boxing?" And I go, "Yes, I do." And then he tried to get me. He said, and you know what? I am having trouble remembering who he said. Let me look at. Well, he goes, "You know the Japanese boxer?" And I go, "Inoue." And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah, he's a beast." And then he said, what did he say? Hang on. He goes, "Do you know?" Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
And he mentions him. I go, "Yeah, Teofimo's good." That was I mentioned, I think, his fight with Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Oh, you do know boxing?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay. Do you think Canelo's going to beat the Charlo?" And I go, "I do." And he goes, "Okay. Sometimes I think he's going to lose, but then I think Canelo's just on a different level." And I go, "He very much is." And then we talked about something else, and he's like, "Yeah, you actually do know." That's right, I do. He goes, "What about UFC?" And I go, "Or MMA?" And I go, that too. And he said something about, You know what? It's escaping me at the moment. So, he said he thinks John Jones is the UFC's Mike Tyson.
I don't even know what that means.
I can't put it either.
I also didn't know what that meant, but it is what it is. And then we discussed the Emmanuel Navarrete Oscar Valdez fight at length, which I watched every round of last Saturday. It was fucking awesome. Thank you, ESPN, for airing a good fight card last Saturday.
Or at least one.
For free.
Shots fucking fired. For
Goosh.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of finishes last weekend, but it just wasn't.
Are we gonna? We're not gonna dignify it.
No.
No, we decided that last week.
Mm-mm. So anyway, that's my work fighting story. What's new with you two guys?
That was a great story. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if maybe that MMA discussion would have parlayed into him saying something wild about 292, but seems to be somewhat surface level in his fandom.
He didn't really have anything to say about 292, and he said he thinks that Tyson Fury has more boxing skill than Francis Ngannou. Not in like a sarcastic way. He goes, yeah, I mean, Ngannou could knock him out, but I just think Tyson Fury has more skill. And I go, Tyson Fury has all the skill.
Yeah, he has 99.9% of the skill in that matchup.
And that might be underselling it. And then I was like, he's also bigger than Ngannou. He was like, oh, damn. Like, he goes, I mostly know about the little guys. I'm like, oh, so who's the one who doesn't know boxing now, you fuck? Anyway, he's a cool guy. But then I did have a moment where I was like, man, if he goes, have you heard of the Pretty Neat podcast? I don't know what I'm going to say.
You were like, I have heard of it.
I have heard of that.
What are your thoughts?
Listen to every episode.
It's funny you should mention it. I have heard of that podcast, and I really want to know when's the last time you sent something into the mailbag.
Hey, have you heard of Nate Gamez? No, Nick Gamez.
Like, who are you?
Bro, there's this guy. He sounds just like you on that show. And he talked about he must work at a school also and know somebody just like me.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't have heard that until tomorrow or whatever. It's gonna be that would be fucking weird. But if he does, I'm not gonna say your name. Come on the Pretty Neat podcast. We'll have you on.
Yeah, why not?
His cousin is currently training Muay Thai in Thailand.
Oh shit!
Tiger Schultz? I don't
know.
Well, maybe.
I don't know
where.
There's more than he's like actually fighting over there and shit. I'm like, dude, that is no fucking joke. He goes, no.
You know what the average age is for Thai fighters to start fighting?
Is it like 11 or something?
It's like 9. It's 9 years old. And then they retire when they're like in their late teens or early 20s.
Hey, that's very, very sad and crazy. And those guys would all fuck us up. Aaron, before we talk about this, because we need to in depth.
Yes, UFC 292 will be the beef of this burger.
There was Ryan and I had a connection midday today over, is that an adjective?
Chargering?
Or it's not a verb. It's an adverb. It's an action, right?
Adverb.
And how do you figure?
I read the article. It said it was an adverb.
Oh, the article says it?
Yeah.
Oh. All
right. Coach Staley talks about it and defines it in an interview.
Oh, okay.
They talk to a lot of current and former Chargers as well. They have a lot of quotes from LaDainian and also Dan Fouts.
Two of the chargeringest of Chargers.
Well, LT didn't ever Charger, right? He's an all-time great.
And watch the team Charger.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember. Never forget.
All right, so they referenced something that instantly I was there because I was at that game.
But hang on. So an adjective, and I have an English degree. This is sad. Describes traits, qualities, or the number of a noun. That's weird. An adverb,
a word or phrase that modifies or qualifies an adjective.
So it's kind of both.
Yeah, you could put it into both.
But it's also a noun because it is a person, place, or thing. Anyway,
but it's a person, place, or thing performing an action.
Okay. Yes, that
or
is true.
a style
It's
of
a
action.
group. Yeah.
Yeah. So they referenced a game against the Baltimore Ravens where it was 4th and 29, and they ran a short pass across the middle where the running back, and I can't think of his name, but he was a very short, stout gentleman, and broke like
for Baltimore.
for Baltimore. That it was like in their own territory around the 20, and they had to go for it, and they eventually kicked a field goal to win the game, but broke like 4 tackles to take a short pass across the middle. 20, I think it was 4th and 21, and they got like 22 yards. And I was instantly transported into that because at that point in time, my wife and I and my in-laws, not quite my in-laws at that point, were Charger season ticket holders in San Diego. So I'm very familiar with the act of chargering.
You're talking about Ray Rice.
Ray Rice, correct. Yeah. Ray Rice. Ray, hey, like it was a phrase was like, hey, diddle diddle, Ray up the middle.
Not the thing Ray Rice is most famous for.
No.
Oh, domestic violence show. Keep going.
Hey,
it was
folks.
4th and 29, it says.
4th and 29. Okay. I was close.
2012.
So I'm very familiar with the act of
I remember this game
of charging. I also remember both of the Jets playoff losses to the Jets. Nate Kading most notoriously bricked 2 field goals in the playoffs. Well, the first time he hit the upright or missed a field goal to win the game, and then the second game against the Jets, he missed 3 field goals and they lost by 6 points. So hypothetically, he makes the field goals, they win. And that motherfucker, sorry, Nate, was a second round pick in the draft.
So Aaron, most times kickers are not even drafted.
Yeah.
Drafting a kicker in the second round gets you fired. Like on the spot.
This makes sense.
That fucker was a second round pick, and after the first playoff miss, I remember Notorious. He was very vocal about seeing a third round. Okay, Notorious about seeing
high,
so high, like
like
just
like fucking Cypress Hill or Be Real from Cypress Hill levels of high.
I'm almost curious, like Justin Tucker, who I think is the best kicker in football.
Yes, maybe ever.
Drafted. What round was he drafted? He was drafted.
He was not.
7. He was not drafted at all.
So Aaron, maybe the best kicker who's ever lived, who hit this crazy field goal from literally the parking lot 2 years ago, was not drafted.
Was not drafted in 2012, and the Ravens signed him.
Oh, you mean so the Chargers could have taken him in? Oh no, 2004. Sorry, 2012 was the game.
Yeah.
What about Jason Elam? You remember him?
For the Broncos, yes, he hit the 63-yard field goal to tie the record originally.
He was also a 3rd round pick. Huh. Well, anyway.
Yeah, so Nate Kading, the 3rd round in the 2004 draft, that was the draft that the Chargers took Phillip Rivers. They also had Sean Merriman that they drafted, I think, in the 2nd round. That was like a great draft for them.
That's a pretty good run.
And let's see. So
also, I actually think Adam Vinatieri is probably the best kicker of all time.
Adam Vinatieri? Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of clutch performance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For the Patriots and the Colts.
Tom Brady owes Adam Vinatieri all the dinners.
Also, the Chargers choked a game away against the Patriots as well, where they picked off Tom Brady at the end of a playoff game. And instead of the safety taking a knee to end the game because they had all their timeouts and could just run the ball or kneel it, he decided to try and run it back. And then Troy Brown, who's a wide receiver for the Patriots, stripped the ball. And then another receiver for the Patriots recovered it. And that allowed the Patriots to then score a touchdown. They got a 2-point conversion. And then they forced a 3-and-out on the Chargers. And then Adam Vinatieri kicked a field goal to win the game.
But you're over it, right?
No big deal.
Yeah. Who remembers that?
I read the article.
Right.
It's detailed
Right.
in the article.
That's right. It is.
It was interesting. It was very interesting. Different takes, different perspectives. Staley, the coach, is not running away from it, which I think is the right move.
Agreed.
But there are clear players, like specifically Keenan Allen, who's just in complete denial about it. But they talk at length about the epic playoff collapse from last year when they were up 27-0 before the end of the first half and then lost.
I would like to add, someone on this show called that about 25 minutes before it started happening.
Yeah, you said something to the effect I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville came back in this game.
I think I had this has Chargers written all over it. I said something like that.
It's on an episode. I remember that.
It is. Yeah.
that happened.
What's crazy is I didn't actually believe it at that point in time.
But it was very prophetic.
But I am saying if I was in a sports book, I would have bet on it.
It was very prophetic. I'll give you that. And they mentioned how players on the Charger sideline were waving to Jacksonville fans and waving them like bye, and then just an epic collapse. Now, there's a lot to unpack there. Yes, did they, not we, I don't play for the Chargers, did they totally change their style of play and were no longer aggressive and were so conservative that it didn't make sense, right? With the whole half of football to play? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Were they notoriously bad at defense, right, throughout the entire year? Yes. And that proved to be true in the playoffs as well, even though they did get 5 turnovers off the Jacksonville Jaguars and are the only team in NFL history to lose a game in which they won the turnover battle 5-0. It was also the third largest playoff comeback in NFL history.
But we're over it.
Yeah, we're over it. We're on to 2023. We're on to next year.
So are they going to win and maybe next week or like in 2 weeks would be the right time to do it. But at some point we're going to have to start doing like NFL picks and whatnot. And Aaron, didn't you say something about wanting to be more like plugged into the NFL this year?
Yeah, I'll probably try and tune in a little more.
It does seem like the Chargers will come in second in that division and probably make the playoffs, right?
It's there right now. Their FPI is projecting a 50% chance for them to make the playoffs. 50? So
that feels low.
Well, considering the amount of wild card spots that are available, and then the conference itself is very competitive. And they're making 2 trips to the East Coast. So anytime a West Coast team goes to the East Coast, it's never good. And then there's still real concerns about them being able to stop the run. I still think they haven't done nearly enough. Like they traded out a linebacker who was a backup, Drew Tranquil, who like basically outplayed his talent by being a hustle guy. And then
I think that's a Brandon Staley thing though. Because
like, when the hustle guy
with the Broncos and the Rams, when he was the DC, he and the linebackers coach in Denver, that's what he was there. He just had linebackers that played their asses off. There's like 3 linebackers from the Rams that got big contracts from other teams because they played for him.
I don't disagree. I also would say that Denver's defense had way more talent than what the Chargers do in that specific area of their defense, because they're going to run not quite a Tampa 2, but they're going to play light up front with strong secondary and then try to do gap and a half coverage to stop the run and bring the linebackers up who have to be mobile to be able to tackle the runners. But what I'm saying is they replaced Drew Tranquil, who outplayed his level of talent by being a hustle guy, with Eric Kendricks, who was an all-pro, but that was 4 years ago. right? And their first round draft pick from 2 years ago, Kenneth Murray, has not even close lived up to his potential. So I think if they take away signal calling, well, actually, he wasn't calling signals because Derwin James was back, and now he's calling the defense, which I think is the right move because Derwin James can come down and play in that space a little bit.
Agreed.
Eric Kendricks has to be the guy who hits that gap and stops those runners up the middle. I just don't think Kenneth Murray can do it. So you got Sebastian Joseph Day, and then Joey Bosa said he's trying to put on 20 pounds of bulk because he thought it wasn't good enough in the run last year.
Oh, I hate when guys say stuff like that. Oh, sorry. 20. He can put on 20 pounds, not 20 pounds of muscle.
No. He just said he wanted to bulk up. He said he's force feeding himself, trying to eat 6,000 calories a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like shades of Michael Phelps, right? When he was in the Olympics, that he competed in all those events and he had to eat like 11,000 calories just to
2008. Yeah. Michael Phelps is such a fucking freak.
Fucking beast.
He does not get he's the most decorated Olympian of all time, and he still doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No, he just gets shit on because he talks about his mental health, and then he got caught smoking weed at Michigan's campus.
Like, well, no athlete ever does that, so he's unique in that sense.
Yeah, but
he's beast, man. That guy swims faster than most people can run.
Yeah, he's genetically designed to swim.
Yeah.
Right, his body type is like perfectly adapted to be excellent at swimming.
There was an article like his lungs pump oxygen like 8% more than everybody else's do. It's crazy. And like the length of his arms and the width of his hands. Serious dick on him, I'm sure.
I don't know if that helps. Because they're wearing, we don't know that it doesn't either. They're wearing quasi like wetsuits, so it's not out in the wild like trying to help him do
the
strokes.
It's out, and we know it's out.
It's not very.
Imagine being Ryan Lochte, right? Imagine being Ryan Lochte, and you're literally the fastest swimmer ever if you're born any other time.
Ryan Lochte, notoriously like just a big dumb guy.
Could swim like a motherfucker.
Big dumb.
Jacked.
Super jacked.
Love it.
Yeah.
Girls like swimmers. Story.
Girls like swimmers because they're safe. That's why they like Harry Styles. They're like, oh, he wears a dress. Fun.
Okay.
That was a leap.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
High dive.
It's like
I don't think so.
What's going on with you and Harry Styles?
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing really.
Watermelon Sugar High is a fantastic song.
No, his other one is better. New one.
The new one?
Yeah. See, I don't even know what it's called, but it's on. They were playing it at lunch yesterday.
He was on like
stuff happened yesterday.
He was on like Britain's Got Talent too when he
wasn't he in One Direction?
He was in One Direction.
Yeah, even
Late
before
Night
that.
Talking.
Yeah.
No. Satellite.
No, come on.
He got big on X Factor though.
As it was. Yeah, that song's a banger.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey Harry, come on the show.
Hey, Harry Styles, definitely come on the Pretty Neat podcast.
Yeah, tell us.
We'll talk about whatever you want.
Whatever you think is pretty neat. Yeah.
NFL picks will be fun. Aaron, do your research. You can make them with us.
Cool. If
you're
not,
in
I'll
Austin,
just
so you're are you closer to Houston or Dallas?
Houston.
So you can be a Texans fan.
Ooh, that's fun.
CJ Stroud.
I guess. But the kind of the Cowboy and the Texas fans kind of both.
Those are your only two choices.
They're both kind of rub me the wrong way.
To be honest with you, the move is just to jump on with the Cowboys. I hate to say it, but that's the move.
I don't want to associate with those people.
Why not?
Okay, Texans it is.
All right.
Their logo is cool.
Yeah, that's true. I guess. I'll just continue.
CJ Stroud. They have Shaq Mason. He's good.
I'll continue my
Jets
fandom probably.
I love Robert Woods just as a Rams Southern California
as
guy.
like a USC, right?
Yeah, and the Rams. Yep.
He played for the Titans before that too.
Mhm.
He really took off with the Rams. He was like kind of a utility player.
He went to the Titans after the Rams. Was he there before that too?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they
I'm
traded him
probably
to the
mixing that up.
Titans.
So, Aaron, that's interesting. You can stick with the Jets. That I'm totally good with that.
But it is the Jets. Why?
From New York.
You're not from New York, you fuck.
Yeah, it's just the only team we ever watched.
The Jets are fun. They have
Yeah.
Darkness Retreat Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, my mom didn't like
Darkness Retreat.
football.
I kind of want to do that.
No.
You do?
I don't know. It just sounds interesting. Darkness Retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they believe in a thing called love.
Hell yeah, they do. Just listen to the rhythm of my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a chance we can make it now.
Yeah. We can rock it until the sun goes down. Which is around the time the fight card will start.
Hey, yeah. Segue.
Is that a segue? I guess
That
it
is a segue.
Yeah, it goes to the picks.
And now it's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast picks.
It's a biggin.
It's a biggin. Biggin UFC 292. Is the UFC paying us back for the last couple cards with this one, or is this just a reasonable card? I think this is a reasonable pay-per-view.
I think this is an above average pay per view. We got 2 title fights.
Would you put it as above
Okay.
average?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
You think
you
it's
guys,
just an average pay per view?
yeah, I'll lean with you because it's tough. It's also the tough finale. 2 title fights and tough finale.
Is above average below good? It must be, right?
Is it?
There is a fight on this card in a place that makes no sense to me, and we'll talk about it when we get there.
Sure. I think I know which one it is.
I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
But we'll get there.
Yeah, I feel like this card is deserving of a bottom to top, most likely.
When we rank the cards at the end of the year, this one seems like it's going to be slightly above the middle.
So you're going to give it a B minus.
Okay.
I am going to give it a solid B.
Okay.
Okay. It is a solid B.
So we would have to reserve A's for, excellence, right?
Yes.
Like truly the result, the card itself, the way it was shaped, the intrigue of the fights prior, and then delivery on the fights themselves.
Yes. And
so would you say that this has the potential to be a B plus?
I'm glad you asked. I was going to say this feels like a card that could either underachieve or overachieve. And here's why. The early prelims are the early prelims, and they're not even that early. They start at 3:30. Our Pacific time, and 6:30 Eastern time, which is late. There's really not a name on here, I guess, except no, not even Petrosky and Mearshart. But then I actually think the prelims are really good. And I'm going to tell you why when we get there. And then I have some issues with the main card, but I think this one could punch above its weight class and end up at a B plus, top 5 of the year. Or bottom 5 if it just goes terribly wrong.
That too. And you kind of run that risk with so many vets in the tough finale. Like, I mean, there's nothing to say that this Austin Hubbard, Kurt Hollabaugh fight or Brad Katona, Cody Gibson fights aren't just like their last few fights in the UFC, which weren't that fantastic. This could be like 2 attempts at a Bonner Forrest Griffin recreation with like them all wanting to make comebacks, but that just doesn't really happen. They're older guys. If this goes past a first round, it's going to be boring for both of these fights. Like with maybe an exception for the Brad Katona, Cody Gibson fight, because both of those guys are monsters.
I actually go the other way. I think Hubbard Hollabaugh is just as interesting. Isn't Hollabaugh the guy with like 4 kids?
I think so.
Well,
yeah.
I guess that's all of them. But Let's start with the early prelims and then we'll get to those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right off the bat, it's two
We,
women's
we've
flyweights.
we've got a ranked fighter in that foursome.
Yeah, Andrea Lee. She's fun.
Yeah.
What would you rank this on the foursome scale with the great if these four were all in a foursome?
It's low.
It's like
It's
a
okay.
50%.
Okay, got it.
It's a 50%.
Yeah. So we get the start of the
They're
night.
each 12 and a half.
We start the night off with the flyweight division, as we said before, with Corinne Silva and Marina Moros, Brazil versus Ukraine. Moros, if I remember, had a great last showing.
Yeah, I think she fought
lost.
somebody also that was Eastern European.
Also, how dare
she fought
her?
Oh,
Maya.
she fought Jennifer Maya.
And
How
that was Maya
dare-
on the tear.
She lost. How dare she steal the nickname of my second favorite British politician of all time?
Oh my. What was her nickname? Iron Lady. Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, that makes me mad.
That's hilarious.
And
Well,
both of you know who my favorite British politician is of all time. If you don't, I'm going to be angry.
I'm guessing Winston Churchill.
I, in fact, ordered a large poster of him with a quote of his for my office.
I was going to say Boris Johnson, but I was just going out on a limb there.
Nah, Churchill, because he's the one with that famous quote. People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
That's right.
That was Churchill. Right. He said that right before the bomb went off. I got Moros on this one.
Why do you think Marina's going to win?
I don't know. I just like her. She looked good against Maya. Like Maya didn't destroy her, and Maya was amazing at the time. Like Jennifer Maya was on a tear in November of last year, and she looked good. But Corinne Silva, I don't know much about her. I don't recall any of her previous fights. I don't think I've even seen one. She fought Souza in June. See, she fought last month, 2 months ago, and I don't remember it. So I guess this is recency bias.
All right, so either she wasn't very memorable or you're a sexist.
Oh, you know where I was?
It's not sexism.
I'm kidding.
In Jekwu and Kutalaba, this was on my mom's birthday, and I was at my mom's birthday party. That's why I don't remember this. The deep fake was there, and where's Waldo Cortez Acosta?
So Karina Silva, her last 3 wins, so Dana White's Contender Series and then 2 fight nights, all submission victories. 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round. So
this is bad for Marina if it goes down.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Her last 5 fights, she's won by submission. 4 of the 5 in the first round.
If we're betting it, give me Silva by submission.
Yeah, she's got sub, arm bars, and heel hooks in terms of submission victories.
Heel hook, damn.
Yeah, she's a different promotion, but
I like it. It's still a heel hook in any promotion. Is that an R, an A, and a D?
It's rad.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go for it. You sold me.
I'm really glad this is a thing.
Yeah, we're gonna put this on the Instagram. This will be our picks.
This is rad.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah, Aaron, you're always creative.
You really are much more creative than me.
You just took you just took the first letter in our names and found some combination that makes it sound great.
Yeah, well, I mean,
better than Ard. Or draw.
Ard and Dar also would have been cool. Draw, not as good.
No, not really.
Ard.
No. How about the next women's flyweight bout? Andrea Lee versus Natalia Silva. Unrelated to the other Silva. KGB Lee. And she's number 13 going into this. Natalia looks like a good
She is a fairly heavy underdog. So what's interesting is Natalia also fought on that fight night card
in May.
November. One of the other 2 fighters we were just talking about did. So,
gotcha.
So she's more of a striker.
Yeah, KO.
Give me the ranked fighter here, as the underdog. I like a ranked fighter at plus 280. Little early prelim action. I'm 2 canned cocktails deep at this point. It'd be great.
So Dom's going with Andrea KGB Lee.
I got Silva.
I got Silva also.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So in her last fight before she came to the UFC, she was in a championship bout in Jungle Fight 100, where she won in the 4th round by armbar submission.
I gotcha.
Don't say jungle fight. I don't like that.
It's called Jungle Fight 100.
Okay.
That's the name of the promotion.
No, I hear you. Do they actually fight in the jungle? Because that'd be badass.
Remember Sherdog fights where they would fight literally on the beach on an island?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's the same shit.
Okay.
Except in a jungle.
Yeah, jungle fight.
And most importantly, on the list rankings, which will have to be a thing at some point.
No. No.
Okay,
No.
Fine. We won't go that far. Natalia's up there. She's up there.
I thought you were gonna say Andrea Lee.
No, yeah, Natalia is there in person. That picture doesn't do Andrea justice, but
no,
Andrea also in person, I think.
Did we see her in
capable?
Person? Yeah, she is one of
live on TV, I should say, not in person. I have not met her in person.
She was at some event for the UFC on Fight Week. Oh my.
Natalia Silva is definitely on the list. I take it back.
Yeah,
that's Andrea Lee.
I've got Natalia Silva on my screen, and you know what? Andrea Lee's on the list too.
Yeah,
there you go.
Welcome to the list.
Welcome to this list. We'll have to scour the archives to compile the list.
Her Tapology photo.
We're glad to have you here.
Yeah, her Tapology photo looks like old Gina Carano.
Give me not that one. Scroll down. Whatever. It's fine. I am a fan of. You kind of got a different set of results than me.
Yeah, that one's not bad though.
I'm not angry about it.
No. So you're picking KGB though, because you like the.
I like the ranked underdog. That's the only reason. I don't really have an opinion on their skill set against each other.
Okay. Well, Andrea Lee's no joke. Like this, if Natalia is a banger as she appears to be with 2 KOs in her last 2 fights, Andrea will be ready for that. So yeah, I think this will be fun. I do think Natalia will win though. I do. That takes us into a fun one. Andre Petroski versus Gerald Meerschaert. I like Gerald a lot.
I do too.
I really do. His getting knocked out by Khamzat Chimaev in 13 seconds really tarnished him. And it's kind of sad because I do like him a lot.
Yeah, that was more than 5 fights ago for him though. You realize that?
Really?
Since then he's gone 3-2.
That was Colby Covington, Tyron Woodley.
Wow.
That's weird.
So in his 3 wins, Gerald has won by sub, and that's the thing.
Yes.
His last it's his last 6-7
wins or sub.
His last 7 and then 11 of his last 13 are subs.
Yeah, 27.
God, yeah, look at that.
27 of his 35 wins. That is wild.
Yeah, he's been in the UFC since 2016.
51 or 51 fights on his professional record.
Yeah. Where Andre is a little bit more of a everything but the kitchen sink type.
He's a wrestler.
He's got both. Yeah. He's got knockouts, he's got submissions, but he is a wrestler. Wasn't he an Ultimate Fighter winner?
He was. No, he lost in the final to Brian Battle. He lost by submission. And then since then he's won his last 4 fights. So that's the thing is like I like Andre here, but if he loses, it's going to be because he gets subbed. Like going in for a double leg and then Gerald locks up a guillotine and pulls guard or something to that effect.
Yeah, and that is what I think is going to happen.
Really?
I think that Gerald Mearshart will submit him from the bottom.
Wow, what are the odds on that? Um,
I don't know, but Petrosky likes to ground and pound.
when was the
And
last time we saw someone get sub from the bottom?
last weekend there was actually a triangle. This past weekend, if I recall
From the
correctly.
bottom?
I think so, if I recall correctly.
I didn't watch because I'm not going to dignify it. Mearshart has a lot of experience, and he's a slight underdog here.
Yeah,
Give me Petrosky. I think he has more path to victory.
And I'm also going with Petrosky. I think he's only getting better, and I like the 4-5 win streak. And he does also have power in his hands while he's not refined as a striker. Gerald Mearshart has proven that he can be one hitter quitter.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
When we do the recap, let's actually look at this.
Cool. Yeah, we'll save it and we'll start. We'll go back to the old format of where we'll keep a
put
tab.
fake money on it.
We'll put
yeah,
fake money. You mean the real money that nobody can take away my First Amendment right from saying is real? Yeah.
There has been some real money put down, but not,
Yeah, not this level.
None that we've kept.
Yeah, and also I think any of these too, if we're in consent on something, consider that the pretty neat parlay. Why not?
Yeah.
If we all agree, that's the one you take.
The parlay to me is the most fun when one of us can actually legally place it.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. We got to move. One of us has to move.
And if fucking voters in California had their shit together,
for real, like
we would have had. Good fucking Lord, you will approve the most ridiculous shit, but not that.
At this rate, Texas will legalize sports betting before California does.
They're like, hey,
you can't even go to a slot machine here.
You want to shoot heroin into your asshole while you also do acid, and but you can do that. It's fine.
As long as you don't place a bet on the Chargers game.
Don't you bet on that football game, you degenerate fuck. Like, it makes me so mad.
Mathematics was invented so people could bet on each other fighting. Let's be honest.
That is the only reason.
It was either that or bartering for fruit, but I'm doubtful on that whole thing because you just kill each other for the fruit.
Or a goat or a woman.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
Speaking of fighting over a goat and a woman, Brad Katona and Cody Gibson are fighting over the Ultimate Fighter prize this year, which is a goat and a woman.
Can I ask you guys something about this?
What did you say about a goat and a woman?
that may have been the original things being bartered over.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I wrong? I said may have. I don't know.
No, that's possible. That's
it's very possible. I feel like we're going to be in agreement on this one. I actually feel like it's really obvious. I have Katona and Cody Gibson listed on my list first.
Okay.
I feel like we're going to be in agreement.
On the victor of this match?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I have it as Katona. Easy.
Yeah.
I have it as Katona as well, but I have a little bit of a weird caveat on that.
Okay.
Which is I do not think Katona will win if Conor McGregor is not in his corner.
What?
Conor McGregor will not be there.
Why?
And that's why.
Why is that your thing?
Because they're homies. Like Katona really didn't show up too tough until Conor was there.
But he won without him in his corner. He literally won with him in the opposite corner.
Yeah, the one time, but the whole time he was like wanting to get over to Conor's team.
This is just one time.
Like I don't see his. I just don't. It's hard for me to.
All right, I mean that's fine.
I'm still picking him too because I think he's more skilled than Cody, but like, I really think he's a different fighter when he doesn't have the backup. I don't know what it is. He lost me in the UFC. He lost me as a fan in the UFC. Didn't win me back on Tough.
Okay. Yeah, I mean his two losses in the UFC before they cut him were Marab, right? That's tough. And then Hunter Azure, who's okay, but he didn't beat any world beaters. Here's a fun fact about Brad Katona in his first go around on the Ultimate Fighter 27, he choked out Bryce Mitchell in the semifinals.
That makes me want to pick him even more.
So he has fought both Bryce Mitchell and Merab. I'll have the Dvalishvili. Cody Gibson has not fought anyone even remotely. He fought Ray Borg.
Ray Borg was
January
okay,
of 2022.
Yeah, that's not good, Ray Borg.
That's just and you know what? He fought Aljo.
Okay.
That must have been a long time ago.
2014.
Yeah.
That was Rousey McMahon, UFC 170.
Yeah, that was before Aljo even started the streak.
Yeah. So Aljo, 9 years ago, more than 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, February 14 versus Merab and fucking Bryce Mitchell, like two legit top flight contenders in their division, with all due respect.
Right now, but Bryce and the Ultimate Fighter didn't even make it to the final.
That's fair. But I mean, this Cody Gibson has guys on here that we've never heard of in MMA 2, Saunders Nijem, and MMA 3, Vice City. They didn't even have names on it.
Isn't Cody also like 4 or 5 years older? Like I think Brad is 31, and I'm pretty sure Cody is
35. Brad Katona is 31. He's 4
Cody
years
beat
older.
John Dodson. We know who John Dodson is.
Yeah.
Do we?
Now in the BKFC, John Dodson. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was an ex-MMA.
Man,
it was a
John
win.
Dodson.
It was a UD.
Man, Dodson was so fucking
Jackson
fast.
Wink guy.
So fast.
Yeah, we used to say like how many John Donsons would it take to beat Francis Ngannou, and I think we came to the answer that it was 3.
Yes. Yeah.
So John Dodson's had an interesting career. TJ Dillashaw.
Oh yeah, he's
on Tough.
Everybody.
Mighty Mouse.
Mighty
Mouse again. Eddie Wineland, Pedro Munoz, Piotr Jan.
Yeah.
Merab, I'll have the Dvalishvili. Interesting. I do not remember this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a who's list of people he's likely lost to. So
he has not fought in the UFC since Miocic Cormier 3.
Damn, that's a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna see that old bastard in November.
Yes, we will.
Stipe, that is.
Yes.
Isn't Stipe younger than both of us?
No. Stipe is in his 40s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he just turned 41.
That would be weird though if he was, wouldn't it?
That old bastard who's younger than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Brad Katona here. And I don't think it's particularly competitive.
Yeah.
And Stipe did just turn 40. And he's about to turn 41 in 3 days.
Happy birthday, Stipe.
Yay.
Stipe Miocic, we hardly knew ye. Please don't fight John Jones.
Well, the contract signed. So.
Well, that could be an injury.
I mean, John's got to fight somebody.
Does he?
Yeah, well, before he fights Tom.
Who is Tom?
Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall.
Okay. I can't. I am licking my fucking chops for the Aaron picking Tom Aspinall over John Jones argument.
I'm not gonna pick Tom Aspinall over.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, there's nothing.
You love Tom Aspinall, rightly so. He's a very good fighter.
He's very good.
Yeah, he doesn't have the wrestling. Nobody has the. Did you watch the video?
Nobody has the anything.
Did you watch the video of John Jones rolling with Gordon Ryan?
No, but I would imagine it was way more competitive than people want it to be.
It was a John Jones show.
And Gordon Ryan is on all of the steroids.
Yeah, it is. It was not a joke.
No picograms there. Full on grams.
Grams.
No picograms. Full grams.
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 Yeah. Then we get the next Ultimate Fighter finale. Austin Hubbard, quite well known, and Kurt Hollabaugh, a little less well known, I would say. But like you said, he's the one with all the kids. So pretty memorable from the show. I actually thought both of these guys were great on the show. Austin takes too much damage. Like he just gets hit too much. His face looked I can't I don't know what's a bruised banana. I don't know.
Bruised banana.
I can't think of a good metaphor. But I mean,
He fought Howney Barcelos. Kurt Holobaugh did.
Yeah, who
I think had the pleasure of getting beaten up. Well, he's been beaten up by a lot of guys.
by Patty,
No. Who am I thinking of?
Sugar
Who is the
Sean.
guy that Sean Strickland that has a very similar name that is not Howney Barcelos because Sean Strickland is not on his list?
Well, they are very different weight classes.
I don't know a whole lot about Howney Barcelos as I am actively
are,
proving.
Yeah, these are featherweights. I think, and Honey, I think was
Julian Paiva is who I'm thinking.
Oh yeah,
Julian
Paiva. Yeah.
Howlian. I actually learned the pronunciation of his name from fucking Cody Garbrandt, so that's cool.
Thanks, Cody.
Nice. Any initial picks on this one?
Here's looking at you, Cody.
Yeah. I like Kurt in this one myself.
You do?
I don't really have a reason. I like both of these guys. I kind of don't care.
Yeah, it's tough to pick. And the thing that I kept
Sounds
going
weird.
back to was, man, why are they doing another tough season with 155ers? Like the 155 division doesn't need more people.
Mm-mm.
Do you think maybe that's who they could get?
I hey, that's valid because if we talk about Austin being a quote unquote vet, well, he was in the UFC back in 2021. He wasn't even out that long.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be right if they had this whole premise of vets versus up and coming prospects, then the pool is limited.
You're really narrowing down what you have to choose from. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They have somewhat similar records. Kurt has a little bit more experience. He lands a little bit more. He's
That's
5 years older. Give me Austin Hubbard.
Yeah. Austin Hubbard.
So Austin lands more significant strikes and Kurt absorbs quite a bit more, which Ryan, you may have just said. I may have just repeated your words.
Nope.
However, on the ground, Austin's takedown defense is better. His takedown accuracy is better. He has more takedowns, though he does not have any subs. Give me Austin Hubbard here.
Let's do it. That's good. We're just sticking with it. I have no reason.
And then there's this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gregory Rodriguez and Dennis Tululin.
Why? Why is this fight here?
I think it's going to end in a finish.
Okay.
Both of these individuals throw a lot. Gregory Rodriguez has a very good nickname. His nickname is RoboCop.
That is a good nickname.
I do enjoy that. And that's the part of the reason I'm picking him, but I also believe that he just lost his last fight as well. Yeah. He lost in January of this year by first round TKO. And prior to that, he had won his last two and then another loss. So it was Bruno Ferreira that he lost against, who knocked him out in the first round. That guy looked like a world beater in the moment. Yet he, I say that he looked like a world beater, knocked out Gregory Rodriguez in January. And then July 1st, he lost via first round TKO on the Sean Strickland fight night card early in July, at the beginning of the month. Interesting. I still like Gregory. I think he gets after it. And I don't know anything about this Russian.
Tululin.
He's taller. Gregory's his fighting style is listed as a grappler, but all I know of him is high volume striking.
Same. And I have the memory of him getting knocked out is ingrained in my head.
Who, Gregory Rodriguez?
Yeah.
By who?
You had said the name, Ryan. First round.
We don't talk about Bruno Ferreira.
Yeah,
It was
Bruno Ferreira.
No, it wasn't Fajeda. Was it Kennedy and Njeku? Did he fight Kennedy and Njeku a long time ago?
You're talking about Petrosian? No, that was
Maybe
a
it was,
decision.
but maybe it was no.
Jordan Williams, he was on the Contender Series.
It was way back then. Huh.
Oh, he was also a Jungle Fight guy. He fought in their special edition 11th anniversary. Very cool.
Yeah, Jungle Fight. Shout
And
out.
Jaguar Combat.
Jaguar.
Yeah. Is
Jaguar.
Dennis
Jaguar.
Tululin, I think, is more of the grappler, is he not?
Oh, you're talking about Cheaty. Cheaty knocked him out.
Cheating in Jukui?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I also think I'm going to go Rodriguez because his opponent, his last fight, he lost to the Iron Turtle, Ji Young Park via first round submission.
yeah.
And
Gregory Rodriguez has MMA math right there because he's beat the Iron Turtle.
Give me
Has he
Gregory
not?
Rodriguez as well, please.
Okay. I'm going out on this one. I don't like Gregory Rodriguez.
I don't have a strong opinion about him.
Yeah.
He's a pretty heavy favorite, -350.
He's a huge favorite, and I feel ridiculous not picking that for that reason. I just I have that image in my head of his chin being suspect and letting himself get hit. But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sticking
this
with
will likely
Dennis.
end in a knockout because
Yeah. They're gonna touch
Tululin's
each
last
other.
2 wins have been via TKO.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna touch each other. And I'm saying
they
that
are.
in the punch their face ways, not kind of check their oil ways. Anyway, then we get into the return of the Wide Man, Christopher Wide Man. Since his leg break against Uriah Hall, man, the art part of this sport is so good.
Christopher Weidman beat Anderson Silva twice in a row.
Yes, he did.
He
He
beat
also
Vitor Belfort.
destroyed Anderson's leg with a leg check.
Yep.
In that second one.
And then he had his leg destroyed
Yes.
by a friend of the podcast.
Friend of the show.
Uriah Hall.
The much bigger than 185-pound Uriah Hall.
Dude. Yeah.
That guy was fucking huge.
He was huge. I'm like, we're the same
yeah.
weight? We're the same weight? No.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No, I am bigger than you, Ryan. At least I definitely weigh more than you, although you might be slightly taller. Uriah Hall is my size. he's fucking huge.
Massive. He's massive.
Not a great run for your guys' favorite Weidman here. He lost to Ouch My Arm Jacare. Uriah Hall, the Dominic Reyes. You like the Ouch My Arm? Dominic Reyes, that has not aged well. He lost to Yoel. He lost to Musasi.
I mean, Gegard's really good, and Yoel can be good. The Jacare thing.
Yoel is a freaking genetic freak.
Yeah, but like his fighting style, it's very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that about him. The Dominic Reyes one, that's tough.
Man, there are people who think Dominic Reyes beat John Jones too. That is so fucking funny.
That's tough. Oh god, that's so tough. So Chris Weidman wins this fight if he takes him down. But if he tries to stand and bang, Brad Tavares is tough. He
beat
on the
Shoeface.
UFC, he's not Shoeface. That's different. There's another
Carlos
guy.
Dos Santos Jr. That's not Shoeface.
Oh, that's Shoeface. Yeah.
Yeah, Antonio. Yeah, he beat him. Brad Tavares beat Shoeface.
Yeah, he beat Shoeface. He beat a man named Shoeface. You're tough.
Did he beat Shabazian, or is this overturned? There's no winner mark here, so it must.
Yeah,
have been
that always
overturned.
throws me for a loop. Brad Tavares, though,
He lost to Shabazian.
Yeah, and he lost to Adesanya.
yeah, Adesanya, that was on his run up where he destroyed Tavares.
Israel Adesanya was on the Ultimate Fighter.
No,
That's what this says. Ultimate Fighter 27.
It might have
he
been
may
a
have been
finale.
on the card.
Yeah,
It says the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale.
yeah.
Yeah, the
that-
Adesanya So he was on the show?
Yeah, the UFC
No. He's on.
292 is technically the Tough 31 finale also.
Gotcha. This card just happened to be called that.
Yeah.
Brad Katona also fought on that card. Fun.
That he won.
Yeah.
Hoxan Modafari, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Rachel Ostovich, friend of the show.
Yeah.
You got Tavares.
I got
Bryce
Tavares.
Mitchell, Gerald
TKO.
Mearshart. This is fun. I like going back and seeing who was on these cards.
Yeah. I think it's a TKO round 3.
For who? Tavares?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Tavares here, please.
Dude, that's so tough.
I don't think Weidman wins.
I got Weidman.
Okay.
Put it on the board.
How do you think Weidman gets it done? Just wrestling?
UD, ground and pound. Yeah.
His I mean, let's be real. He's got the tattoo, you know. He's a wrestler. I don't know if you remember the first time he fought Weidman. We watched it at the apartment when I lived with Brandon. And that was like the thing. It was like he's got Chael level wrestling ability, but he's knocking people out. Like he knocked out Mark Munoz with a spinning elbow, like broke his face. Like Chris Weidman, when he was getting up against Silva, was kind of slated to beat him, but it was like in a Chael Sonnen method. Like he wasn't a favorite, but like, and the knockout, I mean, totally different, but he's a wrestler, and you're totally right. If he can wrestle Brad, he's gonna win. He could totally win a UD.
I think just like all wrestlers who start to develop some stand-up, they fall in love with that stand-up game and then think that they can just strike with people and go away from what is the core base component of MMA is you have to have good wrestling if you want to be successful on many different levels and over a long period of time. If you do not have good wrestling, whether that's wrestling defense in takedown prevention or your ability to then control the fight by taking people down and then utilizing ground and pound, that over all other disciplines is the most important foundational element.
Yeah. That we'll get more into the picks later. The later fights, but that's part of other picks. Now we're in the main card. We're in the main card of UFC.
We're in the main card. This fight is so dumb.
I have a question about this.
Yeah.
If you know how like when the Super Bowl is coming, they'll be like, well, we simmed this game 1,000 times on Madden, you know? If you simulate friend of the show, Marlon Cheeto Vera's career 1,000 times, and how many of those does he end up champion at this division?
Oh, God.
1,000
I know where
times?
you're going with it because it's very few.
It's very few.
Do you think so?
In this division, it's
what do you consider very few?
Less than 100.
So you're saying simulation 1,000 times, how his fights go, and how many of those simulations does he end up being the champion?
If you simulate his career 1,000 times on a video game on UFC 4, no free shoutouts, how many of those times does he hold the belt at least once?
Yeah. Oh, at least once. Maybe I'd up it to 20. 20%.
Okay. Lower than I thought you guys were going to say.
I was thinking 10%.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just bantamweight there's so many good ones in bantamweight.
It just feels he was on a little bit of a run there. Frankie Edgar, Rob Font, Dominic Cruz. Frankie Edgar and Dominic Cruz in pretty astounding fashion. He beat Davey Grant. Okay, fine. Lost to Aldo. Technically beat Sugar Sean, but not really. We all know it. He beat Song Yadong. So then maybe you guys are right. Maybe his career is not as impressive as there was like a stretch of time where we thought it was going to be.
Well, I think you had alluded to that in a prior conversation.
Did I?
Yeah, you said, hey, there was a point in time I think we all believed that Cheeto could be a champion. And then we realized when he got up against what right now is like the elite gatekeeper, which is Corey Sandhagen, he couldn't.
It was after
he just couldn't.
After he beat Yadong.
Corey Sandhagen is good.
Yeah,
He's
after
very good, but Corey Sandhagen's an elite gatekeeper for the 135 division, which
he
is
really
just
is.
a testament to
that
what
is
135 is.
Yeah, that he's the gatekeeper. Yeah, I Pedro, I think, has the right pressure. I'm picking Pedro, even though he is an underdog. I think that he will get this done because Cheeto is a little too slow. He's a little too patient, and I don't think that Pedro is going to allow himself to get trapped. I
Yeah.
think he's too crafty. The only thing that I think Pedro really has running against him is speed. And I do think Marlon is faster, and if he finds a jab, he'll be able to measure distance and find the kick and get a club and get probably ground and pound. I don't think he'd go for a submission. But Pedro, I just think will be elusive enough, and when he goes in, he'll rack up the points with some combos. And I think he'll win a decision.
All right.
That's my pick on Munoz, even though he's not a favorite.
Are you still logging them?
What?
Yep. He's logging.
Okay. Ryan, what do you got?
I got Marlon. There's no
Yeah.
way Pedro wins this fight.
Why?
He's just not that good. He's just not that good. And I always think about him and, oh, you poked my eye against Sean O'Malley and then basically said, I don't want to continue.
And we all
Was
know
there
why.
something else to that? Because I don't want to get beat, right?
Because he's gonna knock me the fuck out.
And then he lost to Dominic Cruz.
Cruz.
And if we're doing MMA math again, what did Chito
Yeah.
Vera do to Dominic Cruz?
That's true. Kicked him in the face.
Kicked his face off.
Yeah, but Dominic Cruz and Marlon Vera fight much different games.
They do.
So
They do.
I don't. That's the MMA math.
So there is a
Okay.
potential here that it's extremely boring because they're both somewhat counter strikers, even though Marlon likes to kind of stalk and cut off the cage, but he's not pressing the action, if you know what I mean, in terms of initiating the encounters.
Yeah.
He's just trying to encroach on the space to draw out that reaction from his opponent and then counter strike. And Pedro Munoz, he's not necessarily a forward pressure fighter. He's maybe a backpedaler, leg kicks. I know that he does a lot of leg kicks. He's known for his leg kicks.
Mm-hmm.
So there's potential this fight sucks.
Yeah, I think, and if it sucks, I think Pedro wins it.
Yeah,
I think they'll throw
that's
more
fair.
volume. That's
fair.
Yeah, I don't think this should be the main card. Like, well, I mean, it's
You
Cheeto,
don't?
so it should. And they're ranked. Never mind, it should.
Yeah, two ranked and bantamweight, and then the title, one of the title fights is bantamweight. So
Yeah. If anything, the next one up, Damone Blackshear and Mario Batista should be swapped with Weidman Tavares.
I agree. That's a good call. I think they should
So
do that.
So that's the one where I'm like, why is this on here?
They're just riding Damone Blackshear from 3 days ago. I mean,
Yeah, because he replaced.
I was gonna say,
Cody
didn't he
Garbrandt.
just fight?
he got
Yeah.
a twist. He got the third twister in UFC history on Saturday, days ago. This will be one of the quickest turnaround times in UFC.
He's fighting on 2 Saturdays in a row.
2 Saturdays in a row.
That's
I mean,
fucking badass.
Bisping skipped a Saturday at least.
Where are you at, Tony Ferguson?
Yeah. So, so like, and I like Damone is a massive underdog, but that's because of Mario Batista's reputation.
But that's just because of their discrepancies in skill.
Yes, and experience. Like, but I like waves like this. Like Mario Batista has been preparing for somebody else. Damone Blackshear is full of himself right now, I'm sure.
He's feeling himself.
Definitely. And Mario should clock him. Like Mario should clock him and should knock him out. With some great boxing. I really don't know. I'm kind of liking Damone. I picked a lot of dogs this card. That's just me. I like the dogs.
I love dogs.
That's my thought. I think Damone is just gonna. I think he's gonna have a repeat. I think he's gonna get this on the ground somehow and win by sub.
I just think it's incredibly hard to go back to back that way.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's competitive, Mario Batista has been preparing. He's fresh, and maybe it allows him to let it fly a little bit more. Who knows?
Okay.
The total
Yeah.
wild card.
Yeah.
I got Bautista.
Why do you think the odds are so disparaging for Damone?
Short notice fights. I mean, you can't. I don't know of many situations where a short notice fighter comes in and gets like a lot of love from the sharps, right? You're coming in because you're filling a need.
Basically, never. Yeah.
Yeah, you're filling a need. Not necessarily that you're the greatest competitive matchup, and more often than not, it's pretty wide in terms of the skill levels. But we did just see Damone do the third twister ever in the UFC. So he said it. He was fresh, didn't take any damage. This is a weirdly weird, scenario where this happens. I would love to see him win, but I just don't think he does.
Reasonable. Mario's really fucking good.
Mario Batista has fought a lot in the last year and a half, 2 years, and I don't remember a single fight of his. He is from the MMA lab. Is that Henry Cejudo?
In Arizona?
It doesn't say.
I believe so. If it is Arizona, that's Cejudo.
Yeah, give me
it's Phoenix. Yeah.
I remember when he beat Boom Boom, when he beat Brian Kelleher, and Canetti was the last one. But I remember specifically
Guido?
when he beat Brian Kelleher, even though it was last year, literally a year ago. That was a statement.
3 subs in a row
here, please.
3 subs in a row, and
Batista is given
4 wins in a row. So this could be a good ground matchup, right?
Yeah.
Guy who just got the third ever twister and 3, and his opponent has subbed his competitors in the first round in his last 3 fights. Nice. I got Ian Gary. That's tough for Neil Magny, right?
Yeah.
That's very tough.
It definitely is. But his name is Ian Machado Gary. He did change it. It's legally Ian Machado Gary.
I love the respect to his wife's family by making his middle name his wife's maiden name.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I wonder if his cards will go up in value, like his original cards with just Ian Gary. I don't know.
Like his almost like a exclusive.
Yeah, because they specifically say it. They specifically they talk about Machado as part of his name. It's you say it. So
I think, Aaron, I think we all know we're picking Ian Gary here. I'd like to ask you a card question, please.
Yeah. I'm down. We're all picking Gary. Yeah.
This to me is maybe the most lopsided fight on this card. I think Ian Gary's going to beat the shit out of Neil Magny.
I do too. Like, even though we've had Max on the show, and like Max talked about what a fucking pain in the ass Neil is.
Yeah, sure thing. Ian Gary, though, is like a guy that could be the 170 champ very soon.
Yeah.
We should climb the ladder with him after this fight.
We should. He's ranked now. He's 13, and Neil's only 11. So, yeah, we'll climb the ladder with him after this weekend. But -500, he is the biggest favorite on the card. And probably
Caesars has him at 490. That's huge. He's going to win probably inside of 2 rounds.
Yeah.
2 full rounds anyway.
The only way he loses is if he gets caught.
Yeah, which could happen. But
could happen. He's been clocked, but
he literally lands basically double the amount of significant strikes per minute.
Yeah, and Neil is not going to throw the power that he would need.
No, it would have to be some type of club and sub. Like Neil Magny is not knocking people out. He could stun somebody and capitalize on a position advantage, but he's not knocking Gary out.
No.
And this is no shade at Neil Magny,
No, we
No.
love
But-
the 90.
He's
but
number
Ian
11.
Gary is going to win.
Yeah. What's the card
Okay,
question?
I have a card question. So I don't know if you guys saw one Post Malone purchased a Magic the Gathering card for $2 million. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, so I guess it's a Magic the Gathering crossover card with Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And there was only one, literally only one of them. And a guy, he talked about it on the Joe Rogan Experience. He said a guy who worked at Costco in Canada purchased a pack of
$2 million Magic the Gathering card. Last June, the discovery of a one of
Oh, it's the One Ring.
Oh.
Card, namely
It's the One Ring.
was discovered and labeled the rarest ever based on necessity. On August 1st, a TikTok was posted showing Post Malone with Brooke Tafton, the original owner of the card, examining the card and saying, Tafton wanted the card to go to the Magic the Gathering community, and Post Malone, an avid member, was the first person to come to mind. The One Ring card was originally a part of the Lord of the Rings Tales of the Middle-earth set and is covered in gold foil etched with an elvish black speech inscription. When given the PSA, the card was graded at a mint 9. Although the price isn't mentioned in the video, Polygon confirmed that the card was sold for $2 million. This is not a false alarm.
Woo.
Okay, so I had actually heard that it only got an 8. That was going to be my question.
Yeah. It's pretty big.
I think
a big leap.
I think that's fucking cool. And if I had money like that, I would definitely buy something like that. And I've never even seen a Magic the Gathering card in person. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? You're a resident card guy.
Well, I don't know too much about the game cards like that outside of the fact that they definitely have people that love them. I mean, like
Yes.
Jake Paul is much more known in the trade for Pokemon. Like he buys
Logan Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, he buys incredibly valuable Pokemon cards because that's his thing. And it's for the same reason, just like that one of one is the only one of that card. So it's really just the values, whatever the biggest fan will pay for it. And there are a ton of fans in the space. It doesn't surprise me that it sold for that much. It's pretty incredible that somebody just bought a pack at Costco and it was in there.
No, he worked at Costco. He bought it at like GameStop or something. No
Oh,
fake
shit.
shout-outs.
Yeah.
And it happened to be in there.
Oh yeah. I mean, because I'm in the trade groups online all the time, there's always people who are like, went to Walmart, got this guy up $1,200 because it's
Yep.
a Brian Battle first series rookie autograph that's a 1 of 10. You
Well,
know,
that's not a $1,200 card, but I know what you mean.
definitely not. I mean, it's definitely not.
I like how
mean,
you went with Brian Battle.
he's pretty popular lately. He's
Is
got
he?
he's got a crew. Yeah, he's
All
one
right.
of the rookies people go for right now. I mean,
Okay.
Ian
Oh, you're
Gary's
saying in the
huge.
card community he is.
Yeah, they
Got
you
it. Got it. Okay.
know, It's definitely
I could see an Ian Gary 1 of 10 go that way. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I sold an Ian Gary 1 of 10 that was PSA graded 10, gem mint, pop 1 of 1, meaning there's the only one of that card that is graded at that
Uh-huh.
level, and I
Uh-huh.
sold it for 130. Like it just didn't get there. It's not autographed. That's the big differentiator. If it's an
Gotcha.
autographed card, then I can multiply that by 5.
Okay.
Easy.
Give me one more card thing in a new tab, please.
What card? Okay.
Search Troutani. Fellow Angel fan Ryan, did you hear about this one?
No.
Is that one
I believe it's ANI. All one word. Card. Yeah. There you go.
Oh,
So
signed
there's
cards themselves.
it's a picture
Okay.
of their at bat from the WBC when they faced each other,
Very nice.
and they
Oh,
signed
shit.
it.
Oh shit.
I don't know how many of them there are, but I would very much like to have that.
I see 3, and it looks like it says 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3
Yep.
of 3.
Yeah,
And they
sir, I
are-
would very much like to have one of those if anyone wants to send me one.
Yeah, and looking at these PSA grades, they're all gem mint 10, perfect condition, hand numbered, and they did the DNA certification to confirm that they both touched the cards. So, yeah, that is
Jesus
full.
Christ.
These will be each of these 3 should go for $1 million or more.
So
'Cause
you fit yes.
A
that is
Mike Trout
correct.
rookie card has sold
Mhm.
for $4 million at this point.
So these ones that will be worth well more than $1 million. Now,
Oh,
well, the problem is if there's only 3, what are they going to do with them? Does it say? Do they each get one? And then
Who knows? I mean, it looks like if they're graded, they're somebody already owns them. Like
Also,
they're
so you
owned
don't
by
think
somebody.
Topps could have printed them and then had them graded?
No, Topps wouldn't do that.
They might.
I mean, I
They
don't think they
might.
would do it with PSA. I don't think they have a deal. Oh, well, look at that. Maybe they
Oh,
gave them to him.
okay. So this
Yeah.
makes sense. Fellow Angel fan Ryan, do you know who that guy standing next to Otani is that isn't Mike Trout?
Is that his translator?
Yeah, but you got to know his name. Come on.
Don't know his name.
That's Ipe.
eBay.
He gets, and I'm not joking, on opening day when they announce him and he runs out onto the field, he gets the third loudest cheer. Trout gets the loudest still, then Otani, and then Ipe.
That's wild.
So I bet all three of them got one, and that's it.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, and that's...
none of them need the even $10 million someone would probably pay them for it. So
no.
That's very cool. Also, Mike Trout was not smiling in that picture because he was striking out when it happened. So that sucks for him. Hey, sign this if you striking out representing your country, you fucking cuck. Like,
there's a lot of
good
people
Lord.
who get
I love it, Mike Trout. Come
That's
on.
tough. That's tough. That's a tough look.
a lot of people.
That's a very tough assessment of him.
A lot of people get the autographed photos of Weidman and Silva from them of their legs breaking. Like that is a thing. You can buy 8x10s of Chris Weidman.
The like photoshopped one where they're kicking each other and they're both breaking.
No, but that's an epic crossover, and I would totally make that as a custom card.
Yeah, that needs to exist.
We can call it the pretzel edition.
No.
Anyway,
thank you. This has been our weekly card detour.
Yeah. I don't even actually know what's going on right now in terms of the new cards that came out. 2023 select UFC.
While you're looking at this, I had someone just a couple days ago. I went to All You Can Eat Sushi, which is one of my very favorite things on earth. And a friend of mine was explaining Magic the Gathering because he's an avid player, and I was like, here's the thing, I really want to be a part of that, but I just can't, you know.
I mean, you can. There was a period of time briefly after high school that Brian and I got into Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And we each bought decks and started building decks and more so just playing against each other. But it's fun. I understand it. There's a lot of strategy involved, and that really like ignites a part of my brain just you want to continue to refine and improve. So I get that. I get that a lot.
I play a different card game on my computer sometimes.
It looks like Alexa
no free shout outs. And this particular company does not need a free shout out. So
it looks like recently Alexa Grasso is one of
that's weird to me that's going for more than Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel is the one I would want right now.
Yeah, well, also consider this is one of one. This is the only one. This Bo Nickel card is one of 49. And it's not even the actual card. It's a redemption to get it when the card's available.
That's stupid. I'm not specifically saying that card. I'm just saying if you were like, hey, pick a rookie card, for me, it's Bo Nickel for sure.
Oh, yeah. And he is easily the highest price cards, especially this year because it's his first year with autos. So
makes sense.
He's definitely the man right now. But I mean, there's a lot of that, though. Like Shavkat Rachmanov is still a big one. You're going to pay a lot. Suga and Patty still sell. Patty a lot less now, but that's more so.
Yeah, the word is out on him, right?
It really is. Like
also he hasn't fought in quite some time, so a little buzz died off. Who's gonna fight?
And plus they kind of joined in when the cards were becoming more known. Like the card scene didn't really start blowing up till 4 or 5 years ago. But anyway, we all picked Ian Machado, Gary. That takes us into the co-main event of the evening and the first championship fight that is not the championship of tough. I guess the real championship fight is Zhang Weili or Weili Zhang and Amanda Lemos, who is number 5. This is Weili show written all over it to me. But I don't know that she necessarily gets it done. I don't know if I picked her to finish or not. I think I picked her by UD.
You picked a UD in our chat.
Yeah, but
I'm picking her as well.
Yeah.
I think Amanda's tough. Amanda also had a standing arm triangle against
Draj.
Jessica Andrade, which is, epic. So she
Yeah.
can be finished.
Yeah.
I don't know if Zhang is that skilled of the submission artist to try and pull something off like that off. However, she is on a quest. Like she's on an epic quest going from it's kind of Shevchenko-esque. For each fight, she's
Okay.
going to different places to train. Right. Previously, when her last title fight, she trained with Cejudo, really worked on her grappling, right, and has paid that off. And then what I understand is she's in Thailand now at Tiger
Yep.
Muay Thai
Yep. She
training
was.
For this fight.
Who?
Whaley.
Zhang.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw that on Embedded, which I am up to date on.
I haven't watched any. I watched the UFC
Oh, yeah, you're
countdown
right.
show.
I watched that. That's what I'm talking about. I have
countdown,
watched
yeah.
Embedded also, but the Thailand was on Embedded or on
Yes.
Countdown.
Countdown.
And still.
Yeah, and still all over it and domination 50-44.
50-44. Okay.
On my card, my premonition card. But that takes us to the main event, which is really the interesting fight. Probably the most interesting fight on the card, just at least for the sake of interest.
Yeah, for sure.
Complexity
Yeah.
of skills, complexity of style, and stakes, everything. And both of these guys, what I love about this fight, the art part of it, is both of these guys need to be vindicated. Like, Aljo gets a lot of shit for his career and like how he won the belt and backpacking Jan and like all of that. He got knocked out by Marlon Moraes. Like, he's taken a lot of shit. But as has been pointed out by people like John Anik and others, Ryan disappeared, but I'm sure he'll be back. As has been pointed out, he's about to be like the record holder for the longest win streak in bantamweight history. Like, he's about to be tying the record for the most title defenses. He's basically confirmed he's moving up from here. So, like, I do think he's really ready. And Sean has his undefeated record, his questionable victory over Jan that a lot of people don't agree with at all.
Those people are wrong. Carry on.
And we've also come to that determination. We watched that fight again, and we all agreed that Sean actually eked that out, if I recall correctly.
If the standard is damage done.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is so tough, though, because I do believe Sean can win this fight.
It would be silly to say he doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley is very good.
He's so good. And his striking is better than Aljamain Sterling.
Much better.
Aljamain Sterling is not going to keep it striking. And I think he has what it takes to. He out-grappled Henry Cejudo.
So?
Henry Cejudo is a double gold medalist. Like, but he was also maybe washed. I think Aljamain is going to ride Sean like a backpack as early as he can, and I think he's going to go for a submission as early as he can. And I think that it will. I think he'll get it done by the end of round 2 or 3. I think early.
Okay.
That's what I think will happen. I would love Suga Sean to be the champ, though. God, he's so fun and he's so good. And he'd be so interesting for the future of the division. I like everyone chasing the Sugar Show. It'd be sweet, for lack of a better term. How do you feel about it?
Sean O'Malley is going to win this fight by spectacular knockout.
Spectacular?
Yes, it's going to be one of those highlight reel ones. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be a kick, a punch, something. I think he's going to connect squarely with Aljo's jaw, and I think Aljo goes down. Maybe the side of his head, something like that.
Just
maybe a body shot. I don't know. But he stops it 3rd, 4th round, that range.
Yeah. And Aljamain, what's the phrase? He goes to the shadow realm level of KO.
Maybe. I don't know if a guy at that weight class has that amount of power to truly go to the Shadow Realm, but he's going to the next dimension over for sure.
Fair.
Yeah. It just is. I mean, Aljo could hold him down for 5 rounds. That's very tough to do. Sean's takedown defense, as he showed against Petr Yan, is pretty good. To think that he has not been preparing for it would be short-sighted. However, there's only so much you can do, with all due respect to Aljo. And Aljo very, very well could win, but he's going to do it in boring fashion. He's a decent favorite here, minus 258. I think, what did we read? That Sean by knockout was like plus 330.
That's pretty wild, actually.
That's a good value bet, because it feels like if he's gonna get it done, it's probably gonna go that way.
Yeah, very much so. Like that, if I was in Vegas, I would put probably a meager bet on Aljamain to win, but I would hedge it with a Sean O'Malley KO.
Yeah, hedging's for pussies, so I would just bet Sean by KO. I'm not saying I'd put 10 grand on it, but
no, but that's where I would lean. Like, this is going to be, regardless, this is going to be a unique fight.
Mm-hmm.
To say the
least. Well, styles make fights, right?
Yeah, and Suga Sean is a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, people forget that he's got reasonable jiu-jitsu. He's not a slouch on the ground. He's talked about wanting to show it off. He's very in the dark with his training camp, which was even talked about on Embedded. And I think
I actually like that.
I do too. I like that too. The secrecy is a part of the art of war. And I think that if Sean has been training to fight a backpack appropriately, then he could do really, really, really well. And I mean, he's probably working the shit out of his knees, because he could totally Askren Aljamain, just like Aljamain got Askrened by Moraes. Like, that could absolutely happen again because you catch him coming in, because he's going to come in. He's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Sean's going to be ready for that. And if he's got his knees locked, unloaded, he's good.
We have seen guys rush the takedown and get caught recently, right? Not even just Ben Askren. We've seen it in fights. That doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of have a feeling about this. This has kind of been the year of longtime title holders losing it. And it's really, really, really hard to defend it this many times. I think Aljo is very special. I don't think he's like John Jones unbeatable special. And I just think the striking difference is so massive. And Sean has not as much of a reach advantage, but he's quite a bit taller. He's 4 inches taller. His legs are longer. It's not the same thing as Petr Yan. The strikes landed per minute are just absurd for him. His accuracy is just absurd. He doesn't really absorb that many for a guy who wants to stand and kind of strike with you. I don't really know how on the OC's website they gauge this defense stat, but his defense is better. I just think Aljo needs 15 to 23 minutes and Sean needs less than 10, as evidenced by their average fight time. So yeah, that's how I'm getting there. I'm also a Sean fan. I'm biased, I won't lie. Aljo could win. I just think it's going to be Sean by some sort of kind of highlight reel knockout.
Yeah, and that's kind of the only. I mean, I think I said it once before, but if Ryan can hear me, he will now. I think that's how Sean can win. I think that finishing Aljo is how Sean wins this fight. If it's going to a decision, it's either because Aljamain is holding him down or holding him off. And I think that's what he's going to do, but I really think
unless he pokes you in the eye and scratches your retina, we've never seen anyone hold him off before. I think that's difficult to do.
No, sure. I agree in that regard, but also we haven't seen him tested in the wrestling department.
Petr Yan.
Not the same.
Why?
Again, comparative to Aljamain, it's not the
Yeah.
same.
Well, I brought up too that Aljamain outdid Henry Cejudo, 2-time gold medalist. I
Off of a
wrestled him.
long layoff, though.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. He was off a long layoff. That's his first fight back, and he has to fight Aljamain Sterling, who's on the run of all runs in the bantamweight division right now. That's fair. It's interesting. I tend to agree. If Sean's going to win the fight, it's by stoppage. And Sean has said, my accuracy is so good, I will find your chin. Right? He's basically said, I will find your chin. And we've seen,
and the stats back that up.
Yeah, the stats do back that. They definitely do. And Aljamain has lost via knockout to Marlon Moraes in epic fashion with some pinpoint precision striking. Where I'm not saying Marlon is the same as Sean, so let's not say that, but they're both good with doing things in the first round to then overwhelm their opponent and get a stoppage victory. And Sean's far more effective at that. Obviously, Marlon just, had cratered, but that's how he won fights. I just really have a doubt about, and the doubt is because I haven't seen it, on what Sean can do to stop the takedown and then allow him to implement his game plan. It's a very interesting stylistic matchup.
It really is. I would argue he showed what he has been able to show. He hasn't had much of an opportunity against Petr Yan. But I hear what you're saying. Aljo is a different beast in that sense. And my pick is Sean by some sort of highlight reel knockout. I don't know if you heard that part. A little bias, fair, but
Sure.
and he's exhausting outside the cage. I get it. He's just so fucking good.
A little bit. Yeah, but here's the thing. The UFC wants Sean to win.
Yes, they do.
The UFC is drooling over the chance to run out Sean as a main event over and over and over again for pay-per-view buys, and just all the buzz that he's going to get with people that are drawn to him. He's not quite Conor, right? But he
might be as close as we have, though.
Yeah, he's Conor-esque.
Yeah.
In his ability to talk that shit and then also back it up with his performance in the cage.
And he's fun to watch.
He is fun to watch. That's undeniable. He is fun to watch. He's gonna lose. He'll get another chance at the 135 belt. But Aljo said he's almost 90% sure that this is his last fight at 135, win or lose. So that means he's going to go up. And then we've all said in the past, hey, that means you get to go up and lose to Volkanovski. Great. Congratulations.
So you think Aljo's going to win?
I do. Yeah. I got Aljo. Aljo UD. No finish. Unless it's a late submission. I could see that.
Maybe they an early submission.
Maybe if they're in some sort of crazy brawl and for some reason Aljo's trying to slug with him and then he ends up catching his back when they're both exhausted in the fifth, that'd be fun. But I think Sean gets it done inside of 4 rounds.
Inside of 4 rounds, okay. And that's going to be some type of TKO stoppage. This
could be the time where we see Aljo come out and look a little bit flat.
Could be.
There's a prospect there.
The risk of overlooking Sean O'Malley is
there's a benefit.
That's a dangerous proposition.
Has Sean gone 5 rounds?
No. And there's a benefit to if Aljo finishes it fast, is that then Sean can claim fluke, and then you have a new bantamweight champion fight anyway.
Yeah. Right, Aaron, when you stepped away, Ryan made the point correctly that the UFC wants Sean to win. And so if he's not going to, they want him to get caught in a choke very quickly. Yeah. So that can be the narrative for
and then he can fight for the vacant belt against Merab, which he would lose against Merab.
I think he would lose against Merab too. Merab's Merab gets caught. Merab.
Okay, fair point. Merab almost lost in the first round against Marlon Moraes. And I think most we discussed that because we thought it was Herb because it's a very Herb move to allow him to continue getting punched in the face and not stop the fight, but it was the no nonsense Keith Peterson that was reffing that fight. And then in the second round, he turned the tables because Moraes was gassed, and then he stopped him.
Yep.
This to me, in some sense, is akin to John Jones, Cyril Gane in the stylistic differences.
Okay.
I think Sean is he's a different type of striker than Cyril is. Cyril's maybe more textbook. Sean is more creative.
Yes.
Aljamain Sterling is not as good at anything as John Jones is, so I'm stretching here. Also, they're both much smaller, but I do not think John's wrestling and ground game is so much better than Cyril Gane's, and we saw that John Jones had no interest whatsoever in striking with Cyril Gane.
Yeah,
none, exactly zero. The difference is probably because he watched Francis be like, "Oh shit, I cannot beat him at this," so he's like, "Very cool. I'll just get my arms around him. I don't, 9 seconds, whatever." I don't think Aljo is as good to be able to do that to Sean. That's probably the closest comparison I can think of where their styles are so different that we've seen in recent memory.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be a clash.
Because it's not Makachev Oliveira.
No.
It's not Volkanovski anyone. It's not Stylebender and Sean O'Malley are probably the two closest as far as their striking abilities go, but there's no wrestler in that division. I mean, well, the one he won't ever fight because he's afraid of him, as good as Aljo. So, Yeah, I said
you're talking about Bo Nickel.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So my new little, we're gonna end on this. My new little boy has red hair, like my wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not happy about it because red hair on boys is not as cute as it is on little girls. And I mean that as a parent, not as a creep. And then my brother-in-law goes, but like the most badass UFC fighter right now is a redhead. And I'm like, you know who Corey Sandhagen is? Also, he's not the most badass UFC guy. He goes, no, Bo Nickel. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. So just so you guys know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You can't kill people if you have a soul. And what we all know about gingers.
They sure don't.
They sure don't have souls.
Ryan, I hate to do this to you.
Okay.
It's with love and pain. Chargering 2024.
That's pretty solid.
Chargering 2024.
Hey, you know why I love MMA so much? It's pretty neat. That is 100% true, but it's also